of total length we cover is called the distance. So you have to travel to this town and the best route is straight up north. But because of roadworks along the way, we have to take a detour and the distance covered would be something like this. Now when the roadworks are completed, the distance needed to be covered would be something like this. Distance is measured in meters and denoted as lowercase m. The distance between these two towns is about 20,000 meters, but because of the detour, you had to cover a distance of 50,000 meters. Okay, so nobody likes big numbers unless it's your salary. So we should also know that a kilometer is 1,000 meters. In our example, we can say that instead of 20 kilometers, you traveled 50 kilometers. Is distance a scalar or a vector quantity? Think about it. If you say someone travels 20 kilometers from this point, we can't really tell where they landed up. Maybe here, maybe there, or maybe they just went around in circles. As it does not specify a direction, it is a scalar quantity. That brings us to displacement. So what is displacement? Distance with direction is displacement. Distance with direction? What do we mean by that? You made two separate trips to this town. Was the distance covered in both the cases the same? Have a good look. It wasn't. In each of the two cases, the distance was different. The time you took for the detour was greater than the time you could go straight across. But if you call someone to tell them where you are, in both the cases, your location is this town, which is 20 kilometers north of your home. The displacement in both the cases is the same. You traveled 20 kilometers north. North shows the direction, and because direction is specified, displacement becomes a vector quantity. Now let's look at this example where a mother asks her son to quietly stay where he is while she takes a quick nap. So now the child runs back and forth many times and returns to the original spot before the mum wakes up. The mum wakes up and sees the child in the same spot, and as she hasn't observed what happened in the last few minutes, she assumes the child has not moved. The child, being the future expert in physics, has in fact disobeyed her instruction and covered lots of distance. But at the same time, he can argue that he did follow his mum's instruction. Lots of distance covered, but zero displacement. If the distance traveled is a straight line, the displacement will be the same magnitude as the distance, but with the direction provided as well. In most cases in our day-to-day lives, the distance covered is greater than the displacement seen. Running errands and traveling back and forth between places cause the amount of distance to build up, though you may not end up very far from home. If you've really understood the difference between distance and displacement, you should be able to answer the next question. When a passenger travels by taxi, is he charged based on the distance or displacement? Taxis charge passengers based on distance. If you go to the neighboring town and return in the same taxi, the taximeter shows you the charge for the entire round trip. If you now try to explain to the taxi driver that you have had no resultant change in your location and hence you must pay nothing, it will not impress him much. Assume you're standing at this point. Now, if your friend tells you there is a treasure pot 50 kilometers away from home, how long will you take to find it? Which direction will you go? It could be here, or maybe here. It is hard to know where exactly it is. You are only provided the distance, which is one-dimensional information. One-dimensional information like this is called a scalar quantity. Your question to him would be, which direction from home? When you are told that it's 50 kilometers in the northeast direction, you have the precise information of the location. This now becomes two-dimensional information, distance and direction. The treasure pot is over here. Two-dimensional information like this is called a vector quantity. Scalar quantities are one-dimensional and vector quantities are two-dimensional. Speed is a very good example of what we call in physics a scalar quantity, indicating only magnitude but not specifying any direction. So that's what scalar quantities are. Only magnitude but no direction. In the case of velocity, however, the direction is stated, and that's why it is referred to as the vector quantity. A vector quantity involves not just the magnitude, but also the direction. When you add directional information to speed, it becomes a vector quantity called velocity. The additional information makes it more specific. Temperature change, for example, is one-dimensional quantity. But when we specify rising or falling temperature, it is two-dimensional. If someone says that the temperature has changed by 2 degrees, we won't really know if it has increased or decreased. We will look at various scalar and vector quantities in the next few tutorials and for as long as we study physics. Speed, velocity, distance, displacement, mass, weight, force, acceleration. The more we He's training to run a marathon. He's covering a distance of 3 meters every second. So the distance he covers each second is constant at 3 meters, and he maintains the pace for a certain period of time. This is what we describe as uniform motion. So in case of uniform motion, if we know the constant distance covered for each time period, along with the total time duration of motion, we can calculate the total distance covered. What do I mean by this? If I said this man ran at a uniform speed of 3 meters per second for a minute, can you tell me how much distance he covered? A minute is 60 seconds. Each second the runner covered 3 meters. So 60 times 3 is 180. Don't forget the units, the answer would be 180 meters. Similarly, we can calculate how much distance he will cover in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, or even an hour. That's because he's maintaining a constant speed. Uniform motion. Distance traveled by an object in unit time is called speed. It's distance per unit time. So what will be the units? Can you guess? The SI unit of speed is meters per second. Quite often you will also see speed denoted in centimeters per second, miles per hour, or kilometers per hour, but the standard unit remains meters per second. We observe this gentleman here running at a constant speed of 3 meters per second. He is definitely a thorough professional, but in our day-to-day lives, it is very rare to see uniform motion, whether it is walking or running, riding a bicycle, or being in a car. We walk briskly for a while and then get tired and our pace slows down. Most of the times, we're not even in control of the speed. There are external factors like traffic lights, busy crowded areas and the like. The bicycle ride is fast at times and slow at other times depending on which area of the school you are in. Same goes for driving a car. Such cases are examples of non-uniform motion. The speed of the object is not constant. So hang on, can we calculate speed for non-uniform motion? As the motion is not uniform, it will have different speeds at different points in time. When it comes to non-uniform motion, we refer to the rate of motion in terms of average speed. Yes, that's right, average speed. So how can we derive average speed? This boy leaves point A to reach point B, which is 60 meters away from A. And he has been walking at varied rates of motion, basically non-uniform motion. He takes 60 seconds to reach point B. So he has covered 60 meters in 60 seconds. What is his speed? Can you tell? You'd have probably guessed. We look at the total distance covered and divide it by the time taken to arrive upon the speed. So this boy has covered 60 meters in 60 seconds. So 60 divided by 60 equals 1 meter per second. That's his average speed over this distance. It is as simple as that. But you have to be careful with the units used. What you have to get into the habit right away and stick to standard units. If you understand it well right now, it will help avoid silly mistakes in the future. If I had said this boy has covered 60 meters in 1 minute, You should not make the mistake of writing 60 divided by 1 equals 60 and say he's traveling at a speed of 60 meters per second. That's as fast as a bike. The best way, normally, would be to convert to standard units. So let's convert 120 meters in a minute into meters per second. Meters is already in standard form. As the standard form of speed is meters per second, we need to convert this minute into seconds. 1 minute equals 60 seconds. This would mean distance covered was 120 meters in 60 seconds. So what was the distance covered in 1 second? Correct, 2 meters per second. So make sure to stick to standard units for now and always mention the units being used. Average speed is a good way to know when you will reach a certain destination in traffic. There will be times when you will be driving fast and other times you will be stuck. Hold on. At every instance, you are moving at some speed. It may be 0 meters per second when you're stuck, or 2 meters per second, or even 4 meters per second. Do you know what the speed at each instant is called? It is called instantaneous speed.